It was spring 2018. I was only 14 years old, but I think a lot of us felt older that night. Looking out that window and seeing the city and the lights pass by, I felt so alive. It was like a transformative moment. For one of the first times, I felt truly independent and free. The train itself was not that incredible. The air smelled dusty and it was a bit cold, but I don't think any of us in the little friend group even really cared. The lights in the train were sort of a blinding fluorescent, but because of that, I could see my friends' reflections in the window. I think Kalina was already passed out, but both Yasmin and Julia could hardly keep their eyes open. I kept seeing their heads bob down and then back up, and then down and then back up. But I don't blame them. It was already nearing 2 a.m., and we started the day way too early for that. So, okay, you may be wondering, where am I, 14 years old, on a train at apparently 2 a.m.? I know it sounds wild, so let me give you some background. Growing up, I went to a small charter school in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I went to that school for 8 years, first grade through eighth grade. My graduating eighth grade class only had 25 kids, and a lot of those kids I had known for years and years. Going to a small school like that kind of shelters you, I think. By the end of eighth grade, I did not have a lot of experience with late nights or exploring or even being independent in general. But, okay, there were a few perks to a small school, and in my opinion, the biggest was the big eighth grade trip. Everyone, since we were young, looked forward to this trip. And in 2018, we got to go to Poland in Europe. We stayed there for 2 weeks. 1 week we stayed in hotels as a class, and the other week we stayed with host families. Each host family had students of the same age and sex. My Polish host girl was named Kalina, and my best friend Yasmin, her host girl, was named Julia. In that week of staying with them, we could do whatever we wanted. There were no teachers, no chaperones, only our host families that took care of us. Luckily for me and Yasmin, Kalina and Julia were also best friends. So that whole week we were able to spend a lot more time together, and that made it a lot more fun. Now, that brings us to Saturday, May 12th, 2018. Kalina and Julia brought us, along with a few of their other friends, on a long journey around the city. Just Kalina and I left her house to meet up with everyone that morning, and I remember thinking, her parents really aren't coming with us? We're just going to leave with no supervision. I was in a foreign country with a foreign girl traveling on foot into a busy city. Let's just say I was a little nervous, but mostly surprised that her parents let us go. So once we met up with everyone, the adventure began. We walked all over that city. We saw landmarks, we went to the mall, we went to the grocery store, we even dipped into a little pond for a bit. But as the afternoon went on, I began to feel a lot more comfortable, and I began to feel safe as well. That day, I learned and I did so many new things. But soon that day fell into night, and before we knew it, it was nearing 2 a.m. That took a big leap, but we were out all night. And at that point, we knew that it was probably time to head back. So we got on a train and we headed home. So, okay, now we are all caught up. I'm back on the train and I am gazing out the window. In that moment, I was reflecting. That day and really the whole trip showed me true independence and what that felt like. It helped me get out of my comfort zone and try new things. It also showed me just how small my portion of the world really is. It helped me put my life into perspective. Whenever I feel alone or when I overthink about little things, I just need to breathe and think about how all these small problems are here today and gone tomorrow. I can think back to that day, that night on that train, and remember just how big and curious the world is. Thank you.